Hello and welcome to another video of Vidhai. In this video, we'll be learning about the chapter Water, which is for the examination NMMS. I am Ryan, a volunteer from Vidhai in the team of exams Vidhai. With that being said, let's get started. Here is the content of the video. For this video, we'll be looking at the mind map and introduction to water and the composition of water. This is the part where we are going to focus on this video. Here's the mind map, and for this total series of this chapter water, we'll be focusing on 4 different videos of composition, properties, potable water and water pollution. And for this chapter, we'll be focusing on electrolysis, preparation and lab preparation of water. The introduction. Without water, there would be no life on earth. You could have noticed this. It would be the first ever statement that would be there in the chapter Light of the 8th standard Samichi textbook. The reason of this being the very first statement is to amplify the importance of water in our daily activities. Water is one of the most important resources of the world. 3/4 of our planet is filled with water, and the chemical name is called as dihydrogen monoxide. This is rather an important name that you are required to learn about because this may come up in the NMMS exam. It can be broken up into the hydrogen gas and the oxygen gas when an electric current is passed through it. This process is usually called as electrolysis. We'll see that in the future of the video. Oxygen is a gas which we breathe to respire for our bodies, and it's a rather important gas, and it also plays an important role in water. So this is the chemical formulation of water. You can see one oxygen here. Here's that one oxygen, and 2 hydrogens are attached to the oxygen. Hence you can see H2, which means there are 2 hydrogen and 1 O. Composition of electrolysis. The process of breaking down water molecules by passing of electric current is known as electrolysis. Remember, I told you that when passing through electric current will break down water into hydrogen and oxygen. Here that process is specifically called as electrolysis. Both cathodes and anodes are carbon rods. By that I mean is this gray color rods that you see which is dipped in water are the carbon rods, and one of these rods are called as cathode and one of these rods are called as anode. Which rods, you may ask? I'll show you now. So these are the carbon rods that we have discussed. Now the chemical reaction that is happening here is, first, like I said, H2O dihydrogen oxygen is the chemical name for water. And now water, when in electrolysis is the process, this entire process, it will break down into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. The end products are, you will get 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen. What I mean by this is, when you look into this chemical reaction, you can see that there are 2 volumes of hydrogen and 1 volume of oxygen, right? So you have these 2 here, you have the 2 here as well, and you have the 1 here, you have the 1 here. This 1 means 1. At cathode, hydrogen gas is being released, and it is released at the negative terminal of the carbon rod. And what do I mean by negative terminal? In this battery setup that you have seen in the electrolysis process, you can see there will be a negative side to the battery, and whatever this negative side of the battery is connected to whichever carbon rod, and that carbon rod is called as the cathode. As you can see, this is the cathode. It's connected to the negative electrode, and thus this particular carbon rod is the cathode. Now for the anode, oxygen gas will be released and it's at the positive terminal. Similarly, here in this side of this battery is the positive side, and the anode will be this specific carbon rod where it is attached. You can see in this diagram itself that oxygen gas is collected at the positive electrode and the hydrogen gas is collected at the negative electrode. And you can see the volume, the space of this oxygen gas with respect to this hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas is more than the oxygen. That's because there are 2 volumes of hydrogen, 1 volumes of oxygen, saying that there are twice the amount of volumes of oxygen for the hydrogen. With that being said, let's go to the next slide. Preparation of water. Water was first prepared in the 1781 by an English scientist, Henry Cavendish. So this is Henry Cavendish. You may have seen his picture of him in the textbook as well. The chemical reaction of the preparation of water is adding zinc to sulfuric acid to get zinc sulfate, and then using the hydrogen gas that is also released as a byproduct with oxygen gives water. So this is the zinc, whatever you have, and this is the sulfuric acid. You see, zinc is a metal and is a solid, and sulfuric acid is a liquid and is an acid. So when you pour this acid onto this metal, you will get zinc sulfate. So this zinc sulfate, when you combine these two, it will give this. This is a white powder substance and it's called as a salt. Respiration of plants and animals also releases water. So whatever we breathe, the oxygen, right? So we breathe in oxygen, plants breathe oxygen, animals breathe oxygen. They combine with this glucose. The glucose here is rather than the sugar that you find daily in your home kitchen. So you take in sugar and then you breathe in oxygen, you will release carbon dioxide which you breathe out, and then you will form water plus energy. This energy is utilized for your own basic needs, for your arms to move, for you to see this video. And water, it will be in different forms, like in the water which is required in your body and so on. Glucose from food and oxygen from the air we breathe. The next slide we will be learning about the lab preparation of water. So this is a straightforward step and the only step that is given in the textbook now, and you have to focus on this, as for this is the reliable step for creating pure water. So this pure water is created by passing on pure hydrogen gas through anhydrous calcium chloride to absorb water vapor, and then the dry hydrogen is burnt in the open air to form droplets of water when it comes in contact with a cold flask. Don't worry about this paragraph, you don't have to remember it. This same exact paragraph is given in the textbook as well, so it doesn't matter for you to learn from this slide as well. All you have to remember is this diagram, and for it is important and may come in the exam as well. So this you have is the anhydrous calcium chloride. It's given like these dotted lines here. You will fill up this part of the setup with this powder, and distilled water, that whatever we are collecting here, this droplets that is coming down from here, is a very pure water, pure from minerals and impurities. You only have the chemicals of water only. Minerals such as calcium, potassium, sodium are absent in that. Distilled water is tasteless because of it being very pure. This point is very, very important, as it will also be asked in the exam as well. So here's a practice question for this video. The gas collected at the cathode of the electrolysis of water is what? So you can pause the video and then determine what the answer is, and after you have determined what answer it is, you can resume the video for the solution. The solution of this question is hydrogen. Like we have seen in the electrolysis slide, cathode hydrogen is released and in anode oxygen is released. This is rather an important one. This may be asked in the exams again as well. With that being said, this is the end of the first video of the chapter water. In the next video, we'll be learning about the properties of the water and some few extra points from that specific portion of the chapter as well. So thank you, and go through the description of this video for extra questions and lecture notes of this chapter. Thank you once again.